the college football experience, Wisconsin Badgers 2022 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. Bet $100 at WynnBET and get $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. We're also brought to you by us. Yes, the college football experience. Get ready for the college football season by checking out all 131 college football team previews. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFB. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFB.
This is Brian Bosworth, aka The Boz, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother. Peace out. Boz out.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. Wisconsin Badgers, just run the damn ball. 2022 season preview. In case you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
The season's close. You know it because I'm on the Wisconsin Badgers and we go alphabetically here. And although my alphabet, remains a bit of a mystery because sometimes I just forget what letter comes first. Is it W? Is it X? Doesn't matter. There's not a college football team in the FBS with an X. I am joined by my co-host. Well, if you listen to the college basketball experience, he was on a lot of episodes. All right. I'm going to go ahead and give him the co-host love right there. All right. Give it up for my guy, DJ Primo, a Wisconsin native. I had to reach out and get someone close, ear to the ground in Madison. Wanted to make sure they were still running the fucking ball and playing great defense. So how you doing, DJ? How you doing, man?
Look, it's great to be back. It's been way too long, and I am right in the heart of Wisconsin football. I'm in Madison. They are definitely running the damn ball this year because I don't think they have any other options. That's what they're gonna do.
Ooh, getting to it right away. Yes. And Wisconsin is a team that's been built on this. I mean, I feel like since really Barry Alvarez in the early 90s, going back to the days of Terrell Fletcher and Brent Moss, I just remember run the rock, Ron Dane, Brian Calhoun, run the rock. So many great running backs I'm forgetting right now. I mean, the kid for the Broncos that I'm drawing a blank on the name right now. Michael Bennett was another
Melvin
one.
Gordon.
Yeah. Melvin Gordon. Yeah.
Monte Ball.
Yeah. You go on and on and on.
James White.
Yes. Running back you. And it's interesting. And I guess before we really get into the specifics of everything, this is a team that's 13-7 in the past 2 years, basically in the Graham Mertz era. Now that's not cutting it. I don't believe in Madison. Now, Paul Chryst, I think, is a good coach, but you look at the previous 6 years prior to him, 10-4, 8-5. That 8-5 season was the lone non-double-digit win season. 13-1, 11-3, 10-3, 11-3. So I must ask before we really get into it here, what do you make of? I mean, has there been a little bit of?
It's easy to see a tide turn.
Are they losing a little bit of what made Wisconsin?
I don't think so at all. I think the good thing about the fans here is they have realistic expectations in general, right? Because they don't expect to beat Ohio State or go to a national championship. They're not upset. It's about the experienced linemen here, which again you'll probably get to. but everything comes down to linemen, defense, whatever it is. Nobody's too down, nobody's too high, and the vibes are usually pretty good because they're winning 8-9 games and beating a team like Michigan once a year, and that's what they like to do. 9-10 games, I should say.
Yeah, but Graham Mertz first, I believe he was the first guy to get the NIL deal going. A little bit of a jinx. It's a big year for Graham Mertz. You look at the whole. I mean, I know that opening game against the Fighting Illini 2 years ago, in his first game in his career, he's throwing the ball all over the field. He looked like fucking Broadway Joe for one day, and since then it's been some tough times. So I wonder, can Wisconsin win a Big Ten championship? That's another thing too. Is the floor has risen. Like, I feel like PJ Fleck at Minnesota, those teams are better than the Tracy Clays and even the Jerry Kill Minnesotas. I also feel like Braum got Purdue out of the gutter. Iowa is still Iowa, and Nebraska seems to lose every game by 1 point, but they look good on the field at times.
Yep.
And then you have Northwestern Fitzgerald. I know they sucked last year, but he's gotten them to be kind of a consistent thorn in the side of all these teams. The floor has risen, I think, a little bit, and maybe that's a reason why Wisconsin's had a little bit of blunders the past couple of years. I love how I'm saying they're blunders. They still had good seasons. It's just not what they were the previous 6 years. So Graham Mertz, and here's something, like, I know I gave Jack Cohen a hard time. He was a lot better than Graham Mertz. And you look, Graham Mertz he's basically, we make fun of Spencer Petras all the time on the show. Well, Graham Mertz is not. If anything, Petras actually takes better care of the rock. Petras averaged 6.5 yards of completion last year. Mertz was at 6.9 yards of completion, so it's not a huge difference there. Mertz had more picks than he had touchdowns. This is all really concerning. You pull up the stats in general. 130 teams last year. Graham Mertz was in the 90s as far as yards per completion. I worry about this offense with Graham Mertz. What do you make of Mertz in general?
That's the biggest complaint here, right? Because he came in as this 4 or 5-star recruit, I believe. Yeah. Everybody had the hype, like the best quarterback they've had since Russell Wilson, obviously a transfer from NC State. And aside from that first game, he looked nervous in every game. He to the point where they just were like, okay, we can't throw the ball. We're just going to run it constantly. And everybody's hopes got down on him. He was bad. He did not look good. And then counter that with, I remember of course, my dog's barking every fucking time. I remember tie that with Jack Cohen throwing like 4 touchdowns in his first game at Notre Dame last year. And it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It's a tough look for Graham Mertz. Yeah.
I mean, Brian Kelly made Cohen look a lot better. It actually made me question the offense going on in Madison, but in comes in Bobby Engram, new offensive coordinator. Now he is inheriting an offense that was 88th in total offense a year ago, 85th in scoring offense, 21st in rush offense, 120th in pass offense. Bobby Engram, former wide receiver from Penn State, was with the Baltimore Ravens, comes in. Is he going to be a difference maker? I wonder if we're just going to see any other. I don't know that Mertz is good enough to employ another style of offense. You know what I mean? But I guess the Cone at Notre Dame kind of gives you proof that maybe he wasn't as bad as what we thought, and it was the offensive philosophy in Madison. I don't know, but they are returning both their running backs, and Braelon Allen and Chez Mellusi. Those guys are studs. That's one of the deepest backfields in America, I would say.
Yeah.
They're breaking in 3 new wideouts. They have 0 returning wideouts. From what I'm seeing, Keontez Lewis, this UCLA transfer. We're going to talk more about the portal in a second, but him, Chimere Dike, and Markus Allen. Holy shit, Markus Allen's back from the dead. Don't date O.J. Simpson's girlfriend, dude. So they got those 3. They breaking in a new tight end. Great name, Jack Eschenbach. If you were to just randomly tell me, Colby, there's a tight end in college football named Jack Eschenbach, I would say that sounds accurate, and I would say he plays for Wisconsin.
Yeah,
all right,
absolutely.
Just blindly, I would have said that. 3 of 5 back on the O line, but so you basically lost every receiver that played last year. I mean, that is concerning Because if I'm a Wisconsin fan, I want continuity between Mertz and a wideout or a tight end or a safety blanket, something, that is concerning to me. However, the run game should be great again. And with the run game, you'll have success to set up the pass game through the play action. Defensively, Jim Leonard, how the fuck is this guy not a head coach yet?
I don't know.
I don't understand. I mean, Jim Leonard. I'm a New York Jet fan, so he was a Jet safety for a while with Rex Ryan. Unfortunately, I'm a New York Jet fan, and he was a stud. He really was a mastermind of. He wasn't the most athletic guy, but he always knew where to be in the right place at the right time. And clearly, the guy knows he's got the IQ because 4th best scoring defense in the country, first best run defense in the nation. 4th best pass defense in the nation, charting at number 1 overall. It wasn't the Georgia Bulldogs, folks. It was the Wisconsin Badgers. If only they could throw the fucking ball, I feel like this team could have been winning the Big Ten. I mean, when you have that good of a defense, now they have some big questions on this defense, though. Mm-hmm. They 2 of 3 back on the defensive line. They run a 3-4. So you get 2 or 3 back on the D line. That's good. Led by nose tackle Keeanu Benton. I am an FBI agent. No, then they get 1 of 4 back in the linebacking core in Nick Herbig, and breaking in an entirely brand new secondary. They also are breaking in a new kicker. Their punter does return. A lot of fucking question marks. And shout out to when I did this episode last year. I had JJ Schmitz on the show, and he was telling me he's a big Wisconsin fan. Shout out to follow Sports by Schmitz. He was telling me that they have the worst special teams every year. Well, Scott Frost just made a case, but I did pay attention to it because that Penn State game in the opener, I thought right away, I go, yeah, he's got a point. But that's another area of concern when you have a brand new kicker. And I know kick coverage was a big issue with them, but what do you make of this roster? I mean, there's a lot of question marks. There's a question marks at receiver, question marks at tight end, but I'm not going to worry about the tight end. Wisconsin's been good at tight end since like fucking 1940. All right. So questions at receiver, questions at linebacker and in the secondary. But if there's anyone I trust to fix the defense in probably all of America, short of maybe Bud Foster, who's retired now, it's Jim Leonard. So what do you make of this team? Just before we dive into the schedule, just what I rattled off. Is that a team that can play for the Big Ten championship?
I think they're always going to be a team that can play for the Big Ten championship because of, and I know you're a big fan of you want Nebraska to do the option. You want Georgia Tech to stick with the option, right? What they have done over their years is stick with running the ball. So I think they're going to be there offensively. Defensively, I do worry. I know you talked about their number 1 defense last year. I went to the Nebraska-Wisconsin game. I watched the Penn State game. I watch all their games. Secondary isn't good. They were never good. The reason their pass defense was solid is because their front 7 was solid. But Jahan Dotson single-handedly ran 2 routes where he had the quarterback at 3 seconds last year and just burned them by just barely doing anything. Secondary has been an issue, just not athletic enough. And now they're returning 3 guys on defense. And Wisconsin's big strong point is returning all their guys on offense and the offensive line. It's one of the most inexperienced offensive lines they've had. Braelon Allen is really good, but it's going to be a challenge especially early in the season, for this offensive line to find some holes for him right away. And as we're going to see, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. I mean, they got some things going with the schedule. We're going to get into the schedule. We're going to get into the transfer portal. We're going to get into, what Las Vegas projects. They are the odds-on favorite to win the Big Ten West, and we'll get to that in a second. But also, we're going to go game by game on the schedule and talk about how the Badgers will do in 2022. But first, I got to get us paid, folks. I want to tell you that the college football experience, Wisconsin Badgers 2022 season previews, brought to you by WinBet. Bet $100 on WinBet and get $100 free bet. How great is that? Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. We're also brought to you by Odds Trader. Odds Trader is a place to compare odds from all the major sportsbook. You can also compare different sign-up codes, different promo codes from sportsbook to sportsbook to assure that you get the best deal possible. The app is awesome. It provides player stats, game stats, key game stats, injury reports, projected game day weather. We're talking Big Ten football here. That's always a factor, right? And what I love is it keeps track of all your bets. I'll be honest. I'll be the first to say, and if you ask people here, Real Money Kramer, Sean Green in the studio, I'm kind of like, I'm left brained. All right. I'm unorganized in a lot of areas, right? And perhaps, that's the artist or me. I don't know what the fuck, but one of the things that happens when I bet, especially in November and December, is I'll have action going on like fucking 10 different sports, and I'll forget that I'm betting on this, or I'll forget to place a bet. So what I love is the organization of Odds Trader. So go to oddstrader.com/Blue Wire. Odds Trader, the #1 site for all your game day bets. We're also brought to you by Run Your Pool. And right now, folks, hopefully you're listening to this episode in time to do this, because we've teamed up with Run Your Pool for our own SGPN NFL Survivor contest. It's free to enter. Hop in now to reserve your spot. We're going to give away $500 cash and a $250 gift card to the SGPN merch store. So hop in right now. Go to play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. That's play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. And Run Your Pool's fantastic. All right, they have every game you can think of: Pick'em, Survivor, Fantasy Pools. So check them out. We're also brought to you by Sleeper. Sleeper's the fastest growing fantasy platform today with millions of players. You probably already have a fantasy league on there. I know I do. They just passed 4 million different users. All right. 4 million. All right. Hell, that's a lot. And they have this brand new over/under game, which I highly recommend, because you can pick 2 or more players, and based on their stat projection, you pick the over or the under, and you can win up to two times to more than 20 times the amount of money you put in if you can hit on that. And with the NFL season right around the corner, Sleeper is the first sports contest game built into the fantasy experience. So right now on your mobile phone, join our listener group on Sleeper at sleeper.com/SGP. That's sleeper.com/SGP, and Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit for $100. All right, we are back talking Badger football. It's 2022, and short of the service academies, Dabo Sweeney and Kirk Ferentz, we got to talk transfer portal. All right, because every other team, the transfer portal is like fucking. I consider it. I'm here in Los Angeles. It's like the 405 freeway. All right. At 4:00 on a Friday, it's well, I shouldn't say it, actually it's going a little faster than that. How about noon on a Friday, right? But there's just a shit ton of action going back and forth, players leaving, jumping. It's hard to keep up with it. It's actually great. If you make your living off of every day, there's a chance that I could have to do an emergency episode and say, oh, this guy's transferring here. So the incoming transfers I'm going to get to first, because you clearly see what DJ was talking about here. Yes, they lost some of that production in the secondary, all of that production, it seems like, but also, even if they lost it, I think they were concerned because, wow, they loaded up safety, Kamoy Latu. I'm probably butchering that name. These Islanders, I need to take a drink every time like going through the BYU roster is one where you need a bottle of whiskey. He comes in from Utah though. Utah, Kyle Whittingham keeps a great defense. That might be a good get. Cornerback Jay Shaw from UCLA and Chip Kelly. He's a projected starter. Cornerback Cedrick Dort from the Kentucky Wildcats. Mark Stoops keeps a good defense. He's a projected starter. Cornerback Justin Clark from the Toledo Rockets. It was their top defensive back in the MAC last year. He comes in. So getting 4 guys in the secondary, they only got 7 guys. The other ones, wide receiver Keontez Lewis, projected starter. Kicker Vito Calvaruso from Arkansas, who I think is actually, he's on the roster, but I don't believe he's going to start. And then offensive lineman Caden Lyles from Florida State. I see to me, if you grading these portals, if you can get 3 or 4 starters, I would say you did a good job. So when I look and I see Shaw, Dort, Lewis, all projected to start, I'm going to go ahead and say they did a good job, but I got to touch base on what they lost, because they did lose a couple that you can sit there and say, oh, wow, they lost that guy. Let's get into it. In the portal. Currently, wide receiver Isaac Smith, wide receiver AJ Abbott, a couple wideouts saying, you know what, I've had enough of Madison. Linebacker Isaiah Green May headed off to Thomas Hammock and Northern Illinois. Athlete Quan Esterling went to Duquesne, I believe. They play a week 0 game against Florida State. Wide receiver Cooper Nelson hit the portal. Cornerback Duran Harrell hit the portal. Cornerback Dante Burton hit the portal. I'm sorry, and I misspoke, by the way. Caden Lyles went to Florida State, and I believe he's actually injured right now. So they did not bring in Caden Lyles. My mistake. Then wide receiver Devin Chandler went to Virginia, the Wahoos. Losing a wide receiver to a Power 5 school, that I think kind of hurts. That's some depth that probably could have got in there. This one was big because he was a huge recruit and kind of disappointed. And Jalen Berger, he came out of New Jersey. I think he was like a 5-star recruit, but he went to Michigan State, who's on the schedule this season. Ouch. Running back Loyal Crawford hit the portal as well, and running back Antoine Roberts hit the portal. So, would you say they won or lost the portal?
That's difficult. That's a really difficult question. Number one, Jalen Berger was not a loss for them because he quit after about game 2 last year through a big fit on the sideline. It was the whole thing. It was a whole drama in Madison, and then it worked out fine for them. Braelon Allen came out of that. Chez Mellusi came out of that.
Yeah, they don't need him with those running backs. All right,
don't need.
But it is a loss to lose it to someone in conference. You kind of, I think, if you're a Wisconsin fan, you're like, I kind of wish he would have went to Arizona State.
Yeah. No, that's true. But he wasn't going to leave the conference if he had the choice. I don't think this is a transfer school, so I don't think it's a big win. It's bringing in offensive linemen and not having offensive linemen come from there already what they have in house is I think an issue for them. That's my biggest worry.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think addressing the secondary was a thing of need. They did that, so I'll give them a slight win. But they obviously didn't load up like some of these schools have. Like Ole Miss, you rattle off like 1,000 transfers.
USC.
Yeah, USC. Well, let's get into the schedule here. If you're watching on YouTube, remember, subscribe on YouTube, folks. YouTube.com/The College Experience. Subscribe to the College Football Experience. And remember, look, me and DJ Primo, DJ came on my show all the time for college basketball. We're already started to do our season previews. So the Badgers are right around the corner. I kind of like what they got going on in Madison with the basketball program. So I know you're smiling over there. So he's a Tar Heel fan. He's in Madison and he's a Tar Heel fan. I know you're smiling then because they return everybody, right?
Everyone.
Yeah. So anyway, check out the College Basketball Experience, and like I said, check out DJ Primo, the degenerate DJ Sports Betting. You're gonna need to check that out. But let's hop into this because the schedule 8.5 wins is what Las Vegas is saying. If you see it on YouTube, shout out to the SGPN graphics team for the fine art. Vegas, though, surprisingly. I guess a little bit surprisingly, they're the odds-on favorite to win the Big Ten West, but they are the overs at -145, the unders at +125. I was a bit surprised. I'll be honest. I was a bit surprised that they were calling for 9-3 because I think the Big Ten West, like I said, the floor has risen a little bit, and I also was surprised to find them the odds-on favorite because I feel like Iowa just gets completely disrespected every year. And they're the same team to me. Like they're very similar. They're very, very similar.
Yeah, not as disciplined. I feel like though.
yeah, but they're very, very similar. I mean, like I think Wisconsin has better running backs traditionally, but Iowa defensively is like always top 10. They haven't been able to throw the ball since fucking Tim Dwight was there, right? And look, they're very similar. They're Iowa special teams is actually much better than Wisconsin, so that's probably the difference in some of those. Bit surprised though. Let's hop into it because week 1 now the out of conference schedule for the Badgers I think is pretty favorable. So maybe that's what Vegas is leaning on. They get the Illinois State Redbirds out of the Missouri Valley. And look, Illinois State, if you're not watching FCS, by the way, we're gonna have an FCS preview, so check out the College Football Experience. They were 4-7 last year. This team wasn't very good, but they did kind of give. They only lost 20-0 to North Dakota State, so limited the Bison offense to 20 points. This is gonna be a bloodbath. This is gonna be like Mertz might look like fucking Broadway Joe again in this one.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah. So 1-0, right? Obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then an interesting matchup, and I think this game is going to be more interesting than people think. All right, and I've been saying this on if you've been listening to our conference previews, I think Washington State, even though their schedule's tricky, like I wanted to take them as a team that could really surprise in the Pac-12, but I think their schedule is a little too rough for me to fully trust my statement there. But I'm going to say this: there's a kid named Cameron Ward that transferred in. He is a fucking beast. All right, and look.
Florida State, correctly?
No. Incarnate Word.
Incarnate Word. Sorry, Cam Ward. Yeah.
He comes in. His head coach quit Incarnate Word, where they were a playoff team that almost knocked off the defending champs. He threw for like 461 and 5 touchdowns in that game. He transfers in with so their head coach took the OC job at Washington State, and then Cam Ward transfers over. He's going to be their quarterback. I think everyone thought, they lost Jaden DeLara, who's really good. Don't get me wrong. He went to Arizona, but Cameron Ward, I think, is going to be a lot. I think this offense is going to be a lot better than what people think. I'm taking Wisconsin still, but I'm just saying, because Jim Leonard's going to have to dial up a defense. And I think knowing Washington State opens with Idaho, I think they're going to keep it very vanilla with Cam Ward. Mm-hmm. Potential for I'll say this, if Graham Mertz cannot throw the ball here, because Washington State, people think, this is like Leach's Washington State. And look, Leach is our boy. I don't mean to throw shit, because he had some defensive coordinators like Alex Grinch and stuff that were solid, but the run defense was not a strength of the team. The head coach of Washington State, the interim head coach last year, is Jake Dickert. They hired him full on, and their defense was actually good. So if he cannot throw the ball, and like I said, if Wisconsin does not do their homework on Cam Ward, who I think is going to be able to run around and make some plays, I could see this being a scary game, scarier than what Vegas expects. I'm taking Wisconsin, but I'm just saying, this one, it kind of smells to me a little bit of a potential upset. How about you?
I get it. I understand what you're saying, which is it's all good and fun. I get it. It's a fun. It seems exciting. And Cam Ward, everything I've heard about him, very talented. It's awesome. But everything I know about Wisconsin, you don't come in from the Pac-12 and play Wisconsin in Madison in week 2 with your first year at Washington State and win against a team that can run. You don't face an opponent like Wisconsin on a normal basis. You don't come into Camp Randall and win this game. You just don't. So
that was the deciding factor for me, was jump around, House of Pain, and all of a sudden, the fans being fucking crazy. That was the deciding. I'm telling you, if they play this in Kansas City, I might be taking Washington State.
100%. It's one of the best home atmospheres, like home field advantages that there is in college football. Obviously, you've got your LSUs and Alabamas and shit like that. Wisconsin is up there, and it's for both basketball and football. And it's just too early in the season. If it was week 5 in Wisconsin, I'd give them a fucking chance. Absolutely.
But don't you like the angle? Like, I'm sure Jim Leonard, I'm a big Jim Leonard fan.
Absolutely.
But if they don't go back and study that Incarnate Word film, which I think they will.
Yeah.
I think they will, because Jim Leonard's detailed. But I could see them being very vanilla Washington State against Idaho. And if you're not ready, Mertz is going to have to throw the ball some. That's all I'm going to say. I do think they're going to load the box, and they're going to have to. But I think Wisconsin gets it done. Week 3. Look, I always made fun of New Mexico State for joining the SEC, right? Seems like recently they've moved on to the Big Ten. They're applying for both because they open up. New Mexico State opens up with Minnesota, and then 2 weeks later, so they go back to New Mexico and then back to Madison in Big Ten country. Jerry Kill is familiar with some Big Ten country, but I mean, they're gonna roll New Mexico State, right?
Maybe they need a little bit of money or something. Like, they're just like, we need to get paid. We're struggling to get by right now.
if you're the fucking head coach, you're talking to the athletic director, dude. Really?
like
Really?
$7 billion deal. Let's go.
We couldn't
Give me some of that
We
fucking
couldn't
money.
put Tulsa on the schedule. So 3-0, right?
Yep.
Okay? Then they head to the horseshoe, and Graham Mertz, you're gonna need to throw the ball. This is what I mean by the potential of Cam Ward. Like, I think Cam Ward, even if he makes some turnovers, I think teams that can put up offense, you're gonna need to be able to throw the ball at some point. Can Graham Mertz do it? I think they lose here. You?
They lose by 50 points in this game. Every time Ohio State and Wisconsin step on the field against each other, it's like they're playing in it's a different sport. It's an SEC football team with all that speed, and it turns into this track meet that just Wisconsin never belonged in the first place. No, this is a 40-point win. I'm sorry. I'm going to have Badger fans so angry at me. I don't care. It's a 40-point win. It's a 40-point win. It is. It's a 40-point win for Ohio State here.
And then, wow, you know what? I'm gonna make this the sling game of the season right now. And let me get to my next. Oh shit! Did I leave that? Okay. Well, look, I want to tell you. Let me just get us paid for one more time here. I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Trade Coffee. Trade Coffee connects customers to the freshest and best tasting coffee they've ever made at home by partnering with the country's best craft roasters. These are independent businesses from big cities and small towns. Trade customer also truly impactful for all these independent roasters, often being the large source of new growth for them. And it's expert tasted. Trade's got a coffee team that actually taste tests thousands of coffee. What a job. Come to work and all I do is taste coffee all day. All right. I mean, wife's got to love it when you come home, right? You get 450 different kinds live and ready to ship out every single day. That's wild. My brother loves this stuff. He really does. Right now, Trade is offering new subscribers a total of $30 off your first order plus free shipping when you go to drinktrade.com/SGP. That's more than 40 cups of coffee for free, people. That's like $1,000 at Starbucks. Let's be honest here. All right. So come on, drinktrade.com/SGP. We're also brought to you by Dave. No, I'm not talking about the next Wisconsin quarterback. I am talking about Dave, the cash banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. That's more money to fill your tank. That's more money to buy a wedding gift. That's more money to jump around at Camp Randall and Madison. All right. Cause you never know. Look. All right. We've all been at a spot in life. I don't care who you are, where you've maybe spent more money than you thought, or you did something stupid. But, you know, it could be something simple as forgot to pay the car insurance, backed into the neighbor's car the other day. You know, we're all humans. Shit happens. All right. Shit happens where, for me, I can remember plenty of times. I mean, I go to Vegas all the time. Vegas. I remember I went and did stand up. I did the Harrah's in Vegas for like 6 days, I think it was. And I was opening, I got $200 a day. And on the way home, so that's all fine and dandy. You think, you know, I was, 20-year-old kid. I'm getting $200 a show to open up for a comic. And the only problem is after I get done with my shows, I'm in fucking Las Vegas. So I'm spending way more than I'm making. And I remember driving home in my car, which was a shitty 92 Civic, right? And on the way there, when I drove into town, my air condition blew. Well, on the way out, a spark blew in my radio, so I couldn't turn on the radio. So I'm driving home. I'm completely hungover. I realized I just spent way more money than I made. Right? I got no air conditioning. And I have just a horrible. This is when I could have used Dave, because I'm sitting there like, wait, the first of the month's a week away. I thought I was going here to make money to help that cause. I spent more money than I made, and I was in this jam. Well, that's why instead of calling your brother or someone to bail you out of this thing, you got Dave now. All right, you can avoid the embarrassment, and you could just Uncle Dave is right here for you. So. Check out Dave. And what's great too is they don't check your credit. All right. So if you're in your early 20s, maybe you made some mistakes and your credit's trashed. Maybe you're in your 40s and your credit's trashed. Maybe I don't know, got divorced. Ex-wife was a bitch, destroyed your credit on the way out. Who knows, right? And there's no interest. So check out Download the Dave app from the App Store right now. That's DAVE. Sign up for an extra cash account. Get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking provided by Evolve, member of the FDIC. All right, we are back talking Badger football. Illinois, the Bielema battle. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you're there in Madison. Didn't it get ugly? Didn't he bash Wisconsin on the way out the door? I thought when he left for Arkansas, he threw Wisconsin under the bus. I thought that was the case. Is that accurate?
Oh yeah, they hate him. He hates them. He bashed them while at Arkansas. Yeah, it's not. They love to see him move from team to team and are more than happy. I should say they love to watch him just mouth breathing ass just lose football games.
Well, that's why I love this game. Look, I don't care what anyone says. Like 2022's got a little too much kumbaya for me. All right. Yeah. I like rivalries. I like hatred. Now I don't want to see this off the field, right? But on the field, I do want to see Brett Bielema get booed. And I thought it was fucking hilarious when those mustard bottles hit Lane Kiffin. All right. It's a mustard bottle. Relax. All right. Tennessee fans, they don't mess around either. Illinois at Wisconsin. There will be over 7 million run plays called in this game. Satowski or Tommy DeVito. I think it's going to be DeVito against Mertz. Who has the quarterback advantage?
Pass.
Okay, wait, what are you doing in this game?
I think Graham Mertz is a little bit better than Tommy DeVito. I'll give him that. Maybe I'll give him that five-star boost and give him the second year as starting quarterback. I think Wisconsin wins this game. Illinois is really bad this year. Wisconsin wins this game in Wisconsin. They just are going to dominate. And the Brett Bielema factor, obviously, it changes everything. Yeah,
I can't wait to watch that game because of that. So we got them 4-1. The number's 8.5.
Mm-hmm.
They head to Pat Fitzgerald and Northwestern. This game is always sneaky, man. I know you're gonna make fun of me at this, but don't they struggle in Evanston?
Everybody struggles at Evanston at 11 a.m. because it's a high school football field and nobody shows up. And they lost 2 years ago, I think.
I'm pulling it up right now. I'm pulling it up right now because even last year they waxed them 35-7 in Madison. Yeah. Last time they played in Evanston, they lost 17-7. Actually, they haven't won in Evanston since 2014.
It's tricky.
Or no.
To play there.
No. They won in 17, but they're still 2-2 in their last 4. Actually, they're 2-3 in their last 5. So,
yeah,
buckle up for this one. What are you doing here then?
I'm just out of respect for Wisconsin fans. I've got to give Wisconsin the win, but they can absolutely lose this game because it's 11 a.m. more than likely in Northwestern, and they struggle there. They can lose it, but logic tells me they're going to win. So I'm going to give them the win.
I'm going to give them the win too, but man, these games are fun.
But they're fun. They absolutely can lose it.
Yeah. So then that would put us at 5-1. What a start to the season. All we need is what, 4 more wins. They have a back-to-back away. They're heading to Spartan Stadium to take on Mel Tucker and what I think is the luckiest team in college football last year. What do you think? What do you think of this game here? Now, I'm all over the place on this game. Look,
are you?
I'm all over the place because if every year there's always a couple teams that were statistical anomalies. Yeah. Michigan State was one of them.
I hate them.
They were one of those teams last year. Oklahoma State was another, right?
Nebraska.
Yeah, well, that was an anomaly the other direction, but yeah. Part of me when I went through Michigan State's, I'm taking the under on Michigan State. You know, you don't have to listen to that episode, folks. If you can listen to every other one, I appreciate it. But was that I thought, you know what, they're going to get caught in some of these games that last year they had the benefit of getting Northwestern, Nebraska, and who was the third team they got? They weren't good. All right. They got the 3 easiest teams, I thought, from the West.
Nebraska won against them.
Nebraska should have won.
I know, but they won.
Should have won. That was painful. I was on that. So Spartan Stadium, I can totally see Wisconsin winning this game. it is a back-to-back away. The stats say back-to-back away. You know, your chances of winning are very tough. What are you doing here?
I have them winning. I think me and you are on the exact same page with Michigan State. That was the luckiest team I've ever seen in college football. Not good, and now they don't have Kenneth Walker. So
yeah, or a bunch of others. I mean, that pass defense got to get better, but I guess the pass defense won't matter in this game.
Sorry, Mel Tucker. I don't think you're very good. I think it's
he milked it. He got 100 mil out of it.
He did. It's
good
not
for
gonna
him.
be a good year for those guys. I've got their under. I know you're on their under. I was on their under hardcore as well. I do not like Michigan State. I think Wisconsin beats them with kind of no issue here. It's gonna be a tough year for Michigan State after the 11 wins, 10 years.
Yeah, 11 because Kenny Pickett didn't play in the bowl game.
Yeah, and they beat Michigan with that crazy Kenneth Walker shit.
Yeah. Well, there was a bad call in that game too. I mean, I'm no Michigan fan, but that was a touchdown by Michigan on that defensive touchdown. So 6-1 is what we have them. 6-1. Then they host homecoming, Camp Randall, Purdue Boilermakers. Purdue does not ever match up well with Wisconsin. I feel like Wisconsin fucks with them. I'm on Purdue. I'm not on Purdue. I'm on Wisconsin. You?
I have them losing. I've got Wisconsin losing. I've got Aiden O'Connell, second best quarterback after CJ Stroud in the Big Ten, going off against Wisconsin. This is where they lose. If they're going to lose one of those two games, this is the one against Michigan State or Purdue. This is the one I have them losing. I think Aiden O'Connell goes crazy against that secondary.
I like it.
He's good. He's fucking good.
Oh, it's in the Big Ten West, where my brother NC Nick, who's a co-host on the show, he's like, "How about the quarterback play in the Big Ten West?" He's like, "You got who's the best quarterback besides Aiden O'Connell?" And I was like, "Well, Tanner Morgan's good too, but everyone else is a question mark." I mean, Casey
like
Thompson, I think.
Years old.
Yeah, exactly. He's been there since since Tony Dundee played there. Yeah. So I got him winning that one. I know this sounds crazy because part of me thinks they will have another loss at some point.
Yeah, I was gonna is one of those two there, and I had to give him one loss there.
No, I'm gonna just say 7-1. 7-1. The hype is real. They get a bye week. They host Maryland. Look, I am surprisingly on the over in Maryland, even though I don't think they're very good. I just think the schedule aligns. But Wisconsin's going to beat Maryland in Madison.
Got back-to-back losses. Back-to-back losses.
You got Maryland?
Yeah.
Yes.
Talia, you kidding me? Again, really good quarterbacks. We've got a couple of really good quarterbacks going.
Dude, Maryland's defense was horrible, though. Purdue's defense, at least, I don't know.
They struggle against really good even solid, good quarterbacks they struggle against. These are two really good quarterbacks that are going up in back-to-back occasions. I've got back-to-back losses.
Look, Wisconsin fans, I'm not rooting against you as Wisconsin fans. I am just rooting for the fact he just called us a pretty serious dog right there. Yep. Okay, well, look, I got them winning that, but I think this is where the ship hits the iceberg. They lose in Kinnick Saturday, November 12th. You?
I have them winning that game. I've got two losses back to back. I have to give them a win.
Yeah, I got them losing 14-13 in Kinnick.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And then they have back-to-back away, and they're going to play Mark Whipple and Casey Thompson. Sorry. I got Nebraska. Winning that one. I know that sounds crazy because I'm one of the ones that locked up the over on Nebraska last year, and everyone, kind of gave me shit all year about that. But I think this place will be packed. I think Casey Thompson in the passing game will be too much for Wisconsin and Graham Mertz. So
I'll be there.
Oh, I love it.
I'll be at the game. Me and my son paid for, signed, sealed, delivered. I'm at the game, Lincoln, Nebraska.
That's a great stadium. I was there last year.
Nebraska's winning. Yeah. Nebraska's winning that game. It's their year to win this game in Nebraska. Casey Thompson, like you said, Mark Whipple, Ramir Johnston's going to be excellent there starting running back. It's going to be a fun year for Nebraska after that 3-8 every close game last year.
Yeah, that was amazing that they were 3-8, the best 3-8 team ever. And then so for me, I'm sitting there at 8-3.
Yep.
Well, the number's 8.5. You're already on the under with that loss, correct?
Correct.
They're at home. They are at home in Madison. 2. PJ Fleck, row in the boat. And guess what? I'm calling for the upset. Give me Minnesota to get that dub. I got them losing their final 3 games of the season. I got the under on the Wisconsin Badgers.
We find a way to get to the same spot. They lost to Minnesota last year. I have them winning at home this year. Still 8-4. So either way, we're going to get there together.
I mean, I think Vegas kind of nailed the number because I don't think
100%.
it's that tough of a schedule. I mean, yes, you get Ohio State and Michigan State from the East. That's not fun. But I mean, I don't think Michigan State's as good as the hype was last year. So I actually think I would rather play Michigan State than Penn State or Michigan. So I think he caught a little bit of a break there. And then, obviously I guess Rutgers would have been better than Maryland, but either way, I think 8-4, I think your ceiling is 9-3.
100%.
Yeah. So I think it's more likely that they go 8-4 than 9-3. So give me the under on the Badgers. I'm rooting for you though, Badger fans. Look, I love running the ball. I like watching Mellusi and all those guys.
And you're not wrong. They could easily drop that second game to Washington State. I've watched them do it. I believe it was to BYU in 2018-ish as well. So they can easily do that as well.
Well, it's that, or I mean, the Northwestern game I just rattled off. I think Northwestern's 3-2 in their past 5, and to me, I look, I'm not projecting Northwestern to be really good this year, but every year I would be a moron if I didn't pay attention to the fact that every year Pat Fitzgerald has a terrible year. He follows it with like a 9 or 10 win season.
He does. Yeah.
So at some point, I got to pay attention to that and say, okay, maybe they can get you. But look, let me ask you this: if he goes 8-4, are they still happy with Chryst? Is he still doing okay?
Yeah, they don't. They just don't. I'm telling you right now, it's not it's a great football town, but as long as they're winning 8 to 10 games a year, they're satisfied. It's not going to change what they do. It's just what they're looking to get to the ever-changing Rose Bowl, which I don't know what's going to be, 2 years from now, but there's no animosity out of winning 8 to 10 games for them.
Well, what's crazy is 8-4, they still might play for the Big Ten championship.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that's a smarter bet than taking the over. Just take the plus juice on them playing for the Big Ten championship. So, all right, folks, we appreciate you tuning in. Check out the College Football Experience. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts at. Also subscribe to the College Basketball Experience. We are together as one on YouTube at youtube.com/the College Experience. And remember, folks, DJ Primo here. Let me give you his ad. He's on Twitter at Degenerate DJ. That's DEEJ at the end. And check out Degenerate DJ Sports Betting. All right, this guy covers college football. He covers it all. I mean, honestly, I know he's big into golf. He's hitting me up about golf. I don't know anyone. Chichi Rodriguez is all I fucking know, and John Daly. All right, but this guy knows it all. Check it out, Degenerate DJ Sports Betting. I appreciate you hopping on with me. People also give us a follow on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. Patty C's on Twitter at PattyC831. NC Nick's on Twitter at NC_NICK. We are the College Football and College Basketball Experience. Also, shout out to the Brat Stop. All right, shout out to the good people at the Brat Stop. If you're in Kenosha, Wisconsin, make sure you hit up the Brat Stop. Can't wait for the football season. Can't wait for basketball season. Subscribe to look, Packer fans. What are you doing? Get over, check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. They're going through all 32 NFL team futures. They have a solo episode for every single team. I've been up there, Lambeau. That place is amazing. Mm-hmm. Love the Packers. Love what they're doing. And check out that episode on Sports Gambling Podcast or the NFL Gambling Podcast. They're talking Packer football. Check out so many right now. It's baseball season. MLB Gambling Podcast. Check out. Go on and on and on. NBA Gambling Podcast. Bucks fans out there, check it all out. All right, it's all there for you. Get the SGPN app in the App Store, or Google Play Store, and also the Discord channel. Hop into the Discord channel. I'm telling you, folks. Even if I'm sweating out a game, or I'm just watching a game, no action on it, it's fun. I grew up in a household full of people that would all watch games. It was excitement to be around my brothers and friends and my dad, and my uncle, and they're all and now I'm a married guy with a cat and a dog. My wife doesn't like sports. She goes to the other room. So I'm just sitting there watching these games. Oh my God, did you see that catch? Oh, I laid 4 points. I missed the connection. Well, guess what? Part of the beauty of technology is something like the Discord channel. All right. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. You can sit there and say, oh my God, Murray State just hit that 3. It's all there for you. Any sport you can think of too. And there's great gambling tips too, but it's just like, imagine a house party full of sports fans talking sports. Hop in there. I think you'll dig it. Appreciate you guys. Love what Madison does. All right. Shout out to great fans. I love the jump around anthem. I love that. There's like a classic meme or a GIF of like one Michigan fan sitting in the crowd while like 1,000 million fucking Wisconsin fans are jumping around. It's fantastic. You're everything that the college football experience is. We love you, Badger fans, and keep on rocking in Madison. All right, folks, this is the college football experience, Wisconsin Badger style. You better start thinking about yours, and we out of here.
What the fuck did I do wrong?
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
I think tide turning, as I remember, I was raised in the desert, but tides kind of, it's easy to see a tide turn.
I broke my back.
Did I say those words?
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What, a vertebrae or
Spinal.
Coaching, our coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job. We got our ass kicked in the second half. It sucked. Stop.
Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.